Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Iowa Live. Lou and Jackie here. And of course, it is fall, moving into winter. But this is a real busy time for an area you might not realize it gets real busy.
Yeah, we're talking about taking care of our elder Iowans. We know how we feel when it gets cold outside, but that means a whole nother world when we're trying to take care of our loved ones. So very excited to be talking to Corey DeBerg this morning from Grand JiVante. And we understand, Corey, I guess I didn't even think about this. As the temperatures go down, it gets cold outside. We're heading into winter season. It sounds like you guys get a little bit busier.
Yep, that is true. Normally, we see our business get busier during the fall and winter months. It's that time of the year where maybe mom or grandma, dad, uncle, whoever stayed at home through the summer. They may have been challenging, but they can stay in the house where it's cool with the air conditioning. But as they start seeing the winter months coming, maybe snow removal gets harder, going outside with the icy sidewalks and steps get a little bit more challenging. So this is a part of the year where you start seeing families really evaluate, is it time for the next step? What's the next step look like? Is dad, mom, grandma, grandpa safe at home now with winter approaching? It's also the part of the year where if you are the primary caregiver for one of these people, it might get more challenging for you to see them on a regular basis.
Now, with everything going on this year and the way things have changed and the way people are spending more time at home, is this holding true again this year as it has in the past?
That's a really good question, Lou. We're seeing people keep their loved ones at home a little bit longer because of, the scare of COVID, of thinking they're safer at home. But we also know that when your loved one needs care, when it gets to the point where they need 24-hour assistance or more than what you can provide, we are seeing, quite a few admissions because of that, because you don't want to have to spend the whole time taking care of your loved one as well. So we are seeing people stay at home longer because of that scare of COVID, but there's still that demand, that need for long-term care facilities when you don't want to spend that much time at home.
Yeah, it sounds like the winter season brings you a new perspective when it comes to the care of maybe an elder Iowan that's living with you. But let's also talk about the perspective COVID-19 is giving us, as you mentioned there a little bit. What does that mean if people are now realizing, okay, mom or dad or both need to go into a care facility? What does that look like in today's world with COVID?
So, it's going to be different, obviously. We'd love to say that it's going to be the same, where you can come and see your loved one all the time, where there'd be no restrictions, but we know that's not true. We, as a facility, try to be very open and honest and make sure that transition is smooth as possible. We do have garden visits, and as we approach winter months, we'll have part of the building where you can come see your loved one. It might not be in their room or in their common area, but it will be an area that we can keep clean, sterilized, sanitized, keep them safe, and also keep everyone else that lives here safe as well.
Now, you mentioned the garden visits, and those, from what we understand, have been they worked out rather well because it gave people that sense of mind of being able to see their loved one face to face, isn't it?
Yep, and that's one of those things too, is you consider, keeping your loved one at home versus bringing them to a facility. We want to have that accessibility where you can see your loved one, but if you're at home, the theory is they're around less people, they're around less staff. Obviously, COVID can't come into that home, but that's not completely true, because if your mom, grandma, aunt, uncle, whoever you're thinking about putting into long-term care lives at home, you really got to think about infection control as well. Who's bringing them groceries? Who's bringing them the medication? Are they going out to see their friends and family? So just because they might be around less people than living in a long-term care facility, it doesn't mean that infection control suddenly isn't as important. So that's one thing, if they're staying at home, that you really need to focus on and really watch.
And we've talked about the incredible work that you do with infection control at Grand JiVante. So let's go to more appropriate care as we're trying to get that reality check of making sure our elder Iowans are taken care of at home versus what you're able to offer at Grand JiVante.
So it's always a hard decision to really think about, when is that next step? When is it appropriate for the next step? And there's a lot of things you can consider and kind of think about before you get to that point. The last thing you want to do is you realize that mom's not taking her medication, mom's really sick, and now you are forced to make a impulsive decision, and it might not be the best for you and your family to do it that way. So we always think about and tell people, look at your loved one and what do they need help with right now? Like where are they struggling? Is it medication management? Is it getting up and down the stairs? Is it keeping their house clean? Is it socialization? Is it bathing? Like what are those areas where you're thinking as a family member, it's time for long-term care? Like what are those main drivers? And then from there, make your list of what those things are and look at other options. Can it be a home health agency that comes in maybe, a couple times a day or a couple times a week to help with medication management? Maybe you're not quite ready for that jump from living at home to the nursing home, but they do need extra care. And it doesn't mean it has to be a nursing home right away. Maybe it's hiring a high schooler in town or somebody to mow the lawn, move the snow. If those are the main limiting factors and everything else is fine, you can save yourself money and keep your loved one happy by living at home yet by doing some of those other things. It's really first looking at what's driving your discussion, your decision to talk about long-term care.
Corey, how important is it to have your loved one involved in the decision that is made? Either you keep them at home or you put them into long-term care. How important is it to have that discussion with them instead of just making the decision yourself?
I would say it's very important, Lou. It's one of those things that maybe, you think as a child that you're doing the right thing, you're the power of attorney, you're thinking you're making that best decision for mom. But if mom's not having a say in that discussion, it's going to make it very hard for her to buy into it. It's not one of those things you want to say, Mom, you've fallen, it's time for the nursing home. More than likely, she's going to fight you the whole way. She won't be happy. And maybe she won't fight you. Maybe she won't challenge you because she doesn't want to have that grief put on you. But she's not going to be happy about it. So the thing that we say that in order to make that discussion, that transition even smoother, is involving them so they know what's going on. They know your perspective, your point of view, and why you're doing it. And then they'll understand why you're doing what you're doing or why you're thinking about doing it versus just hey, Mom, you're going to the nursing home in 2 weeks. I hope you're ready to get everything packed.
Yeah, have that honest discussion, and I like that forward thinking based on what challenges they might have now and see what the best opportunity is for everyone involved instead of, a fall happened, now we have to make a quick knee-jerk response that might not be the best. All right, so let's start a discussion with a wonderful organization like Grand JiVante. How can we reach out and learn more about the practices that are in place and maybe the appropriate place to put our loved one?
You can always give us a call. Our number is 641-847-3531, or our website is grandjivante.com.
All right. Again, what a great facility. A lot of things going on. And just watching their Facebook pages, Jackie, I want to be up there. I want to do some of the things that they do. I know you guys have so much fun with socialization. You're still making it very active within the family that's in the building. And so we appreciate all the great work and the highlight you're giving long-term care facilities like this that are doing such great work during these very challenging times. So thank you, Corey, for being here with us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. This is Iowa Live.